Norris Merchandise on South Lafayette Street in Shelby, and at Narrow Coffee and Nosh on College Avenue in Newton. The complete list can be seen at whatsupshopper.com. The drawing will be held Friday, April 2nd. See area stores for details. The Bunny with the Money, brought to you by The Boss, Carolina Country, KTC Broadcasting, and the whatsupshopper.com.
Man, I only do things incredible can, cause I am the seed of a chosen breed. You don't see too many like me, cause I am one of the reasons you do what you do when you wanna be me instead of you, cause I am still on beat, showing love to the streets. Come on, you know me, cause that's who I am.
And good evening, everybody. Football is back in North Carolina. We're ready for it tonight on KTC Broadcasting. Thank you, everybody, for listening tonight and watching. We've got some special announcements as far as watching and listening to what you can tonight. 4 radio stations under the KTC umbrella. We got 3 games tonight, 2 tomorrow. Then we'll have hopefully some more high school basketball on Saturday. Big time sports here on KTC. Shannon Allen's in the house. Dennis Davis here on the early show. Dennis, we didn't know he woke up this early. They're going to join us in just a second. I got a couple of announcements with the games and everything tonight. I'm Kevin Hastings, guys. You're listening on WHS in Shelby, WLON in Lincoln County. All right, and sorry about that. All right, and guys, you can watch on YouTube tonight our pregame show from 5 to 6:30. Now, with the corona, the teams are changing their kickoff times. Normally, Cherville is going to kick off. Was it 6 o'clock, Calvin, on the normal times? No, normal times. No, I'm talking about normal times. 6:30. They've moved up to our kickoffs in that conference. Some conferences are moving up to 7. Most are. Everybody tonight is a 7 o'clock start. Right. Yeah, everybody tonight is 7 o'clock start. So I want to get that straight. Everybody's got all kinds of questions. What's starting when? And we're going to get to that in just a second, give you guys the schedule and the breakdowns. On tonight on WOHS in Shelby, we've got Forest View at Crest. Brent Pasco, Tom Sinifani will be out there with the radio call. Rob Roop will be out there tweeting, and we're going to talk about the tweeting and more here in just a few minutes. You know, I guess I could put those wonderful guys there. Hey, wave at the camera, guys, at least while I'm talking. Hey, Shannon and Dennis waving at the folks there on YouTube, folks. All of our YouTube shows tonight will be on the KTC Broadcasting YouTube channel. Type in KTC Broadcasting pregame for the pregame, KTC Broadcasting scoreboard for live scores during the games, or KTC Broadcasting postgame for the postgame shows. All right, so on WHS again, we got Crest at Forest View. On WLON tonight, we've got West Lincoln at North Lincoln. Tim Johnson has got the call, along with Logan Baker tonight up there for that game. Should be a big game, and you can listen to that. Logan's going to tweet out a couple of scores if he can get them for us. And then also on Cherville tonight, Calvin Hastings is going to be out there with Danny Aker for the Chase Trojans and their brand new coach. And I'm sure Shannon's going to talk a little bit about him in just a little bit. Out at the farm, they're in the Ville tonight though. So the farm visits the Ville. Chase at Cherville tonight on WCSL. Calvin and Danny will have that call. Caleb Johnson will be out tweeting from that game. So, folks, without doing the video, we're going to talk about that in just a second. We've got tweeters out at the games, and I want to mention those. And then we're going to get into it with Dennis and Shannon. So, out at some of the games tonight, we're sending some guys out to tweet the scores. You can follow along, and we're going to be streaming those. So, tonight out at, let's go down the list, it's Burns at South Point. Matt Royster is going to be out there in the stands doing that, so Matt will be there. Then we're going to have also out at the stands tonight, Jason Sain's going to be in Lincolnton tonight doing that game. And then we've got some fellas going to be out in the weather this weekend. We'll talk about them later. So Dennis, go ahead and hit your magic buttons I told you to.
Got them on.
And I think you can join us now.
Mic check. We're good to go.
I've got something with the feedback. It's probably... Nope, not that. I'll come check that in there in just a second. All right, so Dennis, welcome you guys, and I'll come check that right there.
Well, I'd just like to clear things. Shannon's been doing this pregame show for many years. Terry Reinhardt, who's not with us tonight, I just am filling in to help the Reverend Allen over here.
There you go. Okay.
With a little bit stretching the time and everything. But we got a great Witherspoon pregame show, and just happy to be around. And since I can't get in a game, the governor, King Roy, has limited the amount of people out there on a Thursday night. Now, somewhere about 5 o'clock tomorrow, Shannon, this thing magically transforms and goes to where they can have a 30% in attendance. But tonight we can't do that.
Yeah, I gotta make sure that you got me? Okay, I gotta make sure that when that my views on here do not reflect this radio station.
We are speaking merely for ourselves.
Yes.
We do not want to
yeah.
cause any backlash.
But that does make people wonder, and maybe it was because of the ticket sales or what have you. But why Friday night? Why not do it? Why not make it when he's when the whatever came down the pipe? Why not say it starts tomorrow night and let these
science and data? That's all I can say.
Oh, yeah.
Science and data. That's why they've extended that curfew now to 11 o'clock. That's why some of the other things that are going on. It's all science and data.
Yeah. Yeah. So, well, be that as it may, there'll be some there tonight, or a few there tonight watching these games. But then tomorrow night, let it kick off and let them get as many as they can in there without breaking any law, rule, whatever you want to call it. But
maybe by next week, Shannon, I think they're trying to make up for those missing people by raising prices too.
Oh, I know it. Yeah, I know it. That was I saw that. That's very interesting. But turning to the games and just looking here at the board, Dennis, I'm going to go ahead and make a statement now. These are like, for first games of the year. Some of them are like, some of them are decent games as far as like strength versus weakness. But you have a couple over here. These are big ball games, and huge ball games to start off. And with it being just a 7-game season conference wise, it's cutthroat now.
It's like the NFL. They cut out all the preseason stuff, and they've gone right into the regular season.
Right.
And with only 7 games, as you pointed out, there's none of those cupcakes to start off with and get everybody, put their jersey on right and this kind of stuff. You're jumping right into some contest that could determine things later on in the end.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And I was finding the schedules last night, just going over them. At least they got Crest and Kings Mountain right. They're playing that last. They're playing in that 7th game, which I'm glad. I'm glad that's happening for that same point.
You've brought up a little sore point with me. There is no Shelby and Crest this year.
Well, there was last week, kind of, sort of, maybe.
Yeah.
But yeah, I agree with you. I mean, that's a big gate. That's a big money game. It's a big rivalry game. It's just a big game statewide. Everybody knows about that game. And,
it's one of the top rivalries, if not the top rivalry in high school football in the state.
Yeah.
But the important thing for the schools is the cash flow.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, money game. Absolutely.
You take away probably your top money game.
Yeah.
In that Shelby Crest, and it hurts both schools because years ago we established a policy where we'll share the gate.
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter if it's played at Crest. It doesn't matter if it's played at Shelby. We'll get half the gate.
Yeah.
And so from that standpoint, it provided the money for various other sports. The golf team, the tennis team, cross country team. All those people relied on that revenue. Or does that revenue get generated at? It's either basketball or football, with primarily it being football.
Yeah.
And when you cut out a game like that, I don't know that Kings Mountain Shelby will have the same draw, but it'll be a good game. I'll put it that way.
Yeah, it'll be a good game. Now, if you're talking about draw, they only allow them 1,500, so you only have 1,500 people. And I guarantee you, and you mentioned Shelby, they play East Gaston tomorrow night. There'll be 1,500 people there watching that game, and probably all from Shelby. But it's things like that. They can make up for it. I don't think it makes up the whole pot.
No.
But it does make a little dent in what they've lost, but not.
And let's be frank,
not all of it.
Some of these schools, if they have a 1,500 limit,
yeah,
they're still not going to fill all the seats.
They won't. But it's it is what it is, and that's what the governor said we had to do. So we need to do it and make the best out of it.
Yeah, vote hell out of it. I'm going to get in trouble here.
Yeah, we better change the subject real quick.
Yeah, I've been sticking my foot in the fire for longer than you have, All right. Well, Shannon, let's take a look at some of these games tonight. A few of them are going to be played tomorrow night, and there's a reason behind that. We all can read the weather report, know what's coming. Yeah. Tonight is a beautiful night. I commend the people for going ahead and playing tonight, getting an early start while the fields are dry. Now, if you're Kings Mountain and you've got that beautiful AstroTurf over there,
right?
You can go ahead and play Saturday night, even if it's raining, because that stuff's you're going to be okay on.
Yeah.
But there's some schools, you just can't play in the mud. Mm-hmm. You can have fun playing in the mud, but it takes away from the game and changes the coaching and the strategies and all that. So as we go through the games tonight, take a look at those and give us your analysis on those. And I'll give you some background later on all the teams and all the conferences. We're going to focus, folks, on the games that take place in our listening area. We're probably not going to bring you the score for Havelock. They're a great football team. They got great tradition. Coach Tony Ray's down there. I like the guys and everything. But you're probably, if you're following Havelock, you're not going to get it here. Right. What you are going to get is the local scores that pertain to the people in our listening audience. Lincoln County, Cleveland County, Gaston County, Rutherford County. Those are the games that we're going to be focusing on in the pregame and in the postgame to let you know what they're doing, what we think they're going to do, and then what they actually did.
Right.
Shannon, why don't you run over some of those games for us?
So you're going to start on this far board or first board here?
Your call. This is the Shannon Allen Show. I'm just
okay. You're just along for the ride. Huh?
Yeah.
I'll tell you what. Kevin mentioned a while ago. With Cherryville being right down the road, let's go ahead and hit Chase and Cherryville first. Chase is now the coach. They got a new coach this year, Coach Cogdell. He's from Burns.
I thought that sounded familiar.
Yeah, he's a Cleveland County guy. He was at Burns. I don't know how long he was up there. Did the defense for him, and did a great job with Coach Devine last year, leading Burns to the semifinals. And they ran against Shelby in that second game of that contest they had last year. But Coach Cogdell comes in to Chase, and I was trying to think is the coach they had that left and went to Asheville, and I Chase's former coach, and it just escapes me now. But he left. He came in last year and started a foundation, or laid down the foundation for Chase to for them to build on. And Cogdell has come in there, and he's picked that up.
Yeah.
And so they have they're excited. They had their first winning season in a long time last year at Chase, and where they were actually relevant again. And so that right there, you got the mystique, you got the atmosphere. Even with the everything that's happened this past year, the kids have bought in. Just following them on Twitter, watching some of their kids work out in this off season. They're ready, and they've got a good team. They got a guy. His name is Kylan Miller. Or Kylan, I may have mispronounced that, but he's going to Coastal Carolina. He's already signed with them.
Yeah.
He's 6'3", 180 pound. They have him a safety and wide receiver. I know he's a wide receiver last year. And this, he is actually he's a great safety with, I think he said he had 67 tackles and 2 interceptions, but he had 20 touchdowns for Chase last year. And he is their all-around guy. He's a kick returner, punt returner. that's a person that they're gonna build on. They have their quarterback. He's returning, so they've got a good system in place. They have a big line, and so they're gonna ride that horse until somebody stops them, and it's gonna be those two guys. And going to Cherryville tonight, you know, I'm really looking forward to seeing what Cogdell is going to put in place to execute his weapons that he has right down the road here. And I think it's gonna be a great. Of course, everybody be excited because it's a football game, but Chase. I think they're going to make a statement tonight. They're going to say, "Hey, we're last year wasn't a fluke, and we're going to continue where we left off."
And the question I think that everybody's concerned about over at Chase is this the year?
Is this the year?
Is this the year?
Yeah.
I don't think so, but
no, I don't. They've had kids go to big time programs after they left high school, but that's always the running statement or running question over there. Will this be the year and that they can defeat Shelby? I don't. Not this year. I don't think it will be.
I'm going to throw in a little plug here. I'm so old that I was coaching back in the days when Crest was starting out.
Yeah.
And we played Cherryville and Chase and Lincolnton and schools like that. And they would wipe the floor with us. And Chase in particular had a couple of pretty good players by the name of McSwain.
Oh, yeah.
You with your Clemson the cap on, I know you're familiar with those guys, the Cowboys and Clemson. And Chase, after that, went into a little bit of a drought. But I think I sensed the same thing that you did. It's tough competition, but they're going to be playing at a much higher level than they have been for some years now.
Oh, yeah, they will be. And again, it's all about the foundation that was in place, and they're building on that. Now, let me say this. Not just with Chase, it could be with these other teams. Right now, your perennial powers that are always in place, I think they're going to do well this spring.
Yeah.
Because as we were talking before we went on the air, you don't have that, you don't have those games beforehand.
Yeah.
You don't or you may have said it was on there, that preseason matchup or type atmosphere where you can get ready for when the playoffs start, you can hit the ground running wide open.
Well, Shannon, the things that we just talked about with Chase, you could hold up that mirror and say a lot of the same things about Coach Pruitt and the Cherryville Ironman.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, looking at last year, they were overall, Coach Pruitt's been 18-41, but, there again, he's had to come back and that same thing that Chase's did, build it back out of the bottom. They've got 11 starters returning. They lost 12. They were 3-8 last year. We talked to Coach Pruitt on some of our post-game shows. Great guy, good leader, and he even brought us a toboggan with Cherryville.
Oh, yeah.
So we haven't forgot you, Coach Pruitt. But anyway, the Ironmen, how are they looking this year, Shannon? Give us your take.
Again, what you just said with losing that many from last year off a team that was 3-8, that to me honestly just says, okay, was last year rebuilding, or was last year they just ran into a buzzsaw? I mean, there could have been injuries that caused them to lose 8 games, but. And I don't have those stats in front of me. What were the scores of the games they lost? Were they in those games that they lost?
Well, over the last 5 years, their record is 18-40.
Yeah.
Now that shows me that with their record, last year being 3-8, that they were making progress.
Yeah, they are.
And it's the attitude of the guys. Are they working out? Are they hitting the weight room? And are they ready to hit somebody besides their teammates?
Yeah.
And so I see two very mirror image teams coming together tonight, which could really affect how they play tonight and going forward. You don't necessarily have to win tonight,
right? But
they have to perform well.
Yeah. Yeah, because this game, I mean, this is not a conference game, if you want to call it that, but just looking at some polls that I saw online, they have Chase finishing towards the bottom. But if you remember, and I hope Terry Ronhart's listening, because a couple years ago, Cherryville went over to Chase, and I predicted Cherville, and I don't know why I remember that, but I said Cherville will beat them, and they did. But it was because Chase was building. So I'm looking at that and comparing it to this. Say maybe Pruitt, he just needs the right people in place.
Yeah.
And he needs a game like this because I'm going to tell you, this is actually a great game for Cherville. As you said, they may get beat, but they're going to be pushing up against guys who are bigger, stronger, maybe faster, and it'll get them ready for next week as well.
And I'm not going to make excuses for anybody, but this year is different. Normally the football team waits on the basketball team to finish before they do and pick up their players. Now, teams like Crest and Shelby that go deep into the playoffs every year, they're used to dealing with that. Yeah. Coach Hollifield over there at Shelby, he knows, Dax is going to be out, or this guy's going to be out, or that guy's going to be out. Basketball-wise, I think Cherville is probably going to be hurt more in this game than Chase will.
Yeah, they will.
And so that could be the difference in the final score. But then that third, fourth game, maybe down the road, those kids come back and Cherville starts beating some people that they have lost to at that early game.
Yeah, that's true. That's a great point. And as a matter of fact, that's why Shelby's not playing tonight, because basketball, a lot of I think just about everybody on the basketball team starts on the varsity football team. So, but again, it goes back to that. If once those players do get back onto the team, or with part of the team, they can finish out strong. I don't know how well they'll do, but again, it can propel those guys coming back in the fall to get ready for the fall. So
well, and folks, I want to thank Wayne Witherspoon for sponsoring our program. Wayne has been a sponsor for years, Shannon, with your show, and he's back this year supporting us again on this show. But now let's move to another game that a lot of people are interested in. And we've got a radio coverage on this game, but it's going to surprise a lot of people who's doing the coverage. It's Brent Pascoe and Tom Sinafani.
Yeah.
Go figure. It's that kind of year.
This is a strange year.
Yeah.
That's a strange year.
Give us your thoughts on Forest View and Crest.
Well, I've asked people how was Forest View, and they said, well, they look at them as one of the middle of the road teams that if you don't prepare for them, they will beat you.
Yeah.
So
solid.
They're a solid team, but I think they've got I think I look at them and say, okay, they're having to go up against probably one of the better teams in that conference at Crest, and Crest is probably one of the better teams in the state this year. But
they're missing their key defensive player and one of their wide receivers.
Yeah, but they have T.J. Ruff.
Well,
if you have T.J. Ruff, and
you got to have a little something in the reserve.
Yeah, and what Coach Adams, I think he's doing a fantastic job, and with those players missing, you got the quarterback Adams. That is the quarterback for Crest, and then with Ruff behind him, these kids, especially Ruff. Ruff is just one of those players that comes along every now and then that you look at him and you think, okay, this guy's on a different level than probably everybody else he's playing.
And he's already signed his college choice and will be playing, I believe it's Charleston Southern.
Yeah. He had first he committed to Howard, then he decommitted and chose Charleston Southern. But Crest has so many. They've got their line is led by the center, Colin Surratt. Colin, I believe he was a Shrine Bowl pick this year. He was
but there is no Shrine Bowl.
There is no Shrine. Well, he was a paper pick, I guess whatever you want to call that. But Colin, as good as Ruff has run the ball, I think Colin's a fantastic blocker. He's probably one of the strongest high school seniors in the state, maybe in the Southeast. This kid is a bull in the weight room.
Yeah, and
he's just a great foundation for Crest to have. But as good as they are offensively, defensively, they're missing that. Is it the tackle or the end? Which one?
Is it Hill or Hall?
Oh, Eli Hall. Yeah. So they're and he's being looked at by everybody, all the big schools in the nation, coming into his junior year. But Crest, they just have one of those. Again, if I'm standing across the field and I'm looking across, if I'm standing across the field and I'm looking back across the field and I see those helmets with the C on them, I know I'm in for a dogfight, and it's going to be some trouble if I'm not ready.
Yeah.
And if it gets into a shootout, I think Crest will have no problem. Well, I say a shootout. If Forest View cannot counter what Crest does, it's over.
The thing that Crest has going for them, Shannon, and I'll tag on what you just said. When they run out on the field through the tunnel down there, of the big football helmet, we've been there, we've done this. Nothing's new.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure that Forest View, even though they have had some running backs that went to Syracuse and some big name schools and everything, but I don't think they have that depth and that experience factor that the Crest Chargers have. On the other hand, they don't have the expectations. When you're put on that Crest uniform and you run out on the field, all those people sitting in the stands, whether it's 1,000 or 5,000, they're expecting you to win.
Yeah, you better perform.
And when you don't,
at Crest, you will hear about it.
Ask Roy Kirby when he was 0-3.
Yeah.
But then he won a state championship, so all was forgiven.
Yeah, you're right. And again, I don't really know much about Forest. What I do can speak on Crest. I was talking about their defense a while ago. The quarterback was DJ Fuller. But their defense, they have their linebackers, Nick Beeson and Eli Wesson. Those two young men are back, and I've actually seen both of them since the last, season back in 2019, and these guys are put together. They have hit the weight room hard. They've done a great job preparing for this year, as well as Eli Hall. But they have, they have that. They as good as they are offensively, it's like they're a complete team. They've got it offensive, defensive, and they have special teams with Blake Roderick, their senior kicker. So that'll help them with the field position. That'll help them, get that 3 points they may need when the drive stalls at some point. But and Crest has a lot of those kids back that were last year, they were the number 1 seed in the playoffs.
Yeah.
And they got beat, I think, by West Rowan at the second round. Is that right?
I believe that is correct.
Yeah.
Sir.
So, those kids remember that. Those kids have tasted that, and they want that. They have something to prove, and I think they're gonna fare well this year, or this spring especially, and they're gonna make some noise as one of the teams around here that has a legitimate shot. Along with, they have to go, but them and Kings Mountain have to butt heads. But again, it's what I talked about a while ago, Dennis. And I hate referring to last year, which was 20. It's been a while ago, it seems. But if you remember, Kings Mountain played Hunter Huss, and got beat, and that changed the whole dynamics of the 3A playoffs.
Yep.
And so, and that helped Crest get that number 1 seed when Crest played them there at the final game. So it's, again, 7 games. You cannot have a hiccup because, Crest still has to play Kings Mountain. One of those teams are going to win, one of them's going to lose, but you cannot have that other loss. The games like this against Forest View, against Ashbrook, against North Gaston, no offense to those teams, but if you're wanting to if you want to put yourself in the position to win, you've got to win these games, especially this spring. You've got to. Yeah,
because it's a short court, if you will.
Oh, yeah, it is. Absolutely. Absolutely. So.
All right. Well, West Lincoln and North Lincoln, I was really pretty vocal about West Lincoln last year.
Yeah.
Terry Reinhardt, they've been through some difficult times.
Yeah.
They put together, I thought, was a great season for them, and advanced, did well. They're playing North Lincoln, which had a great year and moved on, and they're squaring off, as you pointed out, right here at the get-go.
Right here at the beginning, absolutely.
And that game can have ramifications through that conference on till the end of the year.
Yeah.
What's your thoughts on West Lincoln and North Lincoln?
Well, just going back to last year, both of these teams, West was put out by Shelby in the playoffs, and North was put out by Burns in the playoffs. So both of these teams were senior-led, senior-heavy teams, and they have lost a bunch of talent. I think North has more talent in their arsenal than Westwood is coming back. But I think they're playing up at North. I think Basil at North Lincoln is one of those coaches that he's very hard to beat when it comes to X's and O's and strategy. if his team if you're built together, like if you're built similarly. Okay.
Yes.
It's just power football. And I think West Lincoln, as good as they have been in the past, this is going to be this spring is going to be real hard for them just to try to keep up with, no offense to the players there, but they just lost so much last year. They lost so much of their talent. That was, had a great big offensive line. They had those 2 running backs. And their names are on the tip of my tongue. But anyway, they had those 2 they're gone. So now they're going to have to replace basically everybody. And it seems like it are all their key positions. That's going to be hard with no spring or no work, no preseason. That's going to be hard to fill. That's going to be hard to come out of the gate and firing on all cylinders. Whereas North Lincoln, their JVs are coming up. They've won the conference in the JVs past couple years. So they've got a good group coming in. But I think North is just going to be too strong for a first game. Is going to be too strong for West Lincoln.
My figuring here.
Yeah.
Terry Reinhardt could probably tell us all about West Lincoln.
Oh, he could. Yeah, he could tell you everything about them.
Unfortunately, they submitted no information about who their returning players were.
Yeah, like I said, West doesn't have many. And again, the ones that they lost were their bread and butter, their key players, especially the running backs and stuff like that. And because they ran that 2 running back system, and as good as those kids were on running back, I think they were great linebackers too. So, I think North's just going to be too powerful for them tonight.
You ready for a break, guys? Are your throats getting dry in there yet? Hey, we're going to order some food here in a few minutes, guys. We've got our food sponsor this year is Fats Cafe over in Shelby. And we're about to
some good stuff.
Put us in an order, and we're going to enjoy that later on here in a little bit after the show. But folks, thanks for tuning in. You can pick us up on WLON in Lincoln County, 1050 AM, 107.5 FM over in Cleveland County right now. Of course, 1390 AM and 101.5 FM. Guys, we are going to go to a break here in just a second, and we're going to come back and I get organized. I guess I got to talk to you guys to see exactly where you were. I was getting Brian Nichols was in the house just now, coach over at Holbrook. He is going to be our Bessemer City reporter.
Yay.
And he's heading out to Pine Lake Prep tomorrow. Hopefully they'll get some shelter for him because it's going to be a little bit colder than it is right now.
Get him a tent, Kevin.
I gave him a tent. That's what was taking. So I was like, here, you take this, and good luck, and hopefully they'll put you inside and keep you warm, preferably. But if it wasn't for the social distancing stuff, now just a regular year they'd put him in there. But you never know. And they have a small press box. But we're going to talk about the broadcast, where you can see, hear, and do what here in just a little bit. We'll be back in a minute on ktcbroadcasting.com.
Since 1986, Witherspoon Insurance Agency in Shelby has been serving families across Shelby and Cleveland County. And today, Wayne Witherspoon continues the tradition of bringing you the best insurance at the best possible price, with names like The Hartford, Safeco, Progressive, National General, and Travelers. Drop by the office today at 125 North Lafayette Street in Shelby and talk with one of their friendly hometown agents. Witherspoon Insurance Agency, your independent insurance agency since 1986.
Have you got a ping, pang, ding going on with your car or truck? Then take it to A-Plus Automotive in Shelby. A-Plus Automotive does all types of automotive repairs, from tune-ups to oil changes and complete diagnostic work. And they are a North Carolina inspection station with over 30 years of experience. See A-Plus Automotive in Shelby. They also do AC and heater repair. Get her running today with a stop at A-Plus Automotive, 1900 Elizabeth Avenue in Shelby. See Charlie Heston today or call 704-482-0441 for A-Plus Automotive in Shelby. Is your car's windshield cracking you up? If so, you need to see the windshield doctor. That's Carolina Auto Glass at 408 South Post Road in Shelby. Carolina Auto Glass can handle all of your insurance claims. Shop local. Deal with Carolina Auto Glass. They do free estimates on site. Just call 704-480-1885 for Carolina Auto Glass. Located at 408 South Post Road in Shelby. Open Monday through Friday, 8 to 5, where you get safety and satisfaction. Online at carolinaAutoglass.net and see their page at whatsupshopper.com. It's time to join the family.
We are family.
Join the Shelby family at Carter Chevrolet in Shelby. Coming out for special offers. Get $4,000 customer cash on a new 2021 Chevrolet Equinox. Get $2,750 customer cash on the new 2021 Chevrolet Blazer. And get $2,250 customer cash on the new 2021 Chevrolet Trailblazer. Come on in for all the details and join the family, the Chevy family, at Carter Chevrolet, 200 West Dixon Boulevard in Shelby, online at carterchevyofshelby.com. At Cleveland Community College, the spring semester is in full gear. We are the county's premier center for affordable education and workforce training, offering 41 associate degree programs, 43 diploma programs, and 117 certificates. From healthcare, education, business and IT, to electrical line working, commercial truck driving, plumbing, and cosmetology, we have options for your career success. And remember, we're the home of the Yetis. Be sure to check out cccyetis.com for team news and game schedules. Go Yetis! Dellinger's Jewel Shop, 112 West Mountain Street in Kings Mountain, is a fourth-generation family-owned business. They offer quality diamonds, gold and silver jewelry, and custom jewelry, and they offer a sale price every day. Dellinger's always has great gift items and free gift wrapping, so remember them for that special Valentine gift. And right now, they have cash price store-wide discounts from 10 to 50%. Looking for that special engagement ring? They're the place to go for better diamonds at a better price. That's Dellinger's Jewel Shop. Call 704-739-8031. Smiles are the specialty at Family Dentistry in Shelby. Dr. Stroud, Wilson, Thompson, and McMurray invite you in for all of your dental needs. From preventive care to cosmetic dentistry, from crowns and bridges to root canals and implants. For your appointment, call 704-482-3281 or visit the website at shelbydentist.net. Yes, smiles are the specialty at Family Dentistry in Shelby, located at 416 West Warren Street. Kids love them. Hey, and you will too. Check out the $1 section at the Falston Pharmacy and Medical Center Pharmacy in Cherryville. There are many brand new items at the Falston Pharmacy location. And don't forget, at both locations, you can use their convenient drive-through window. You can even get your over-the-counter items through the drive-through. And they have vitamins including C and D and zinc to help fight off the virus. And remember, the grill is open at the Medical Center Pharmacy in Cherryville. Get your flu shots too at the Falston Pharmacy, Highway 18 North in Falston, and Medical Center Pharmacy, East Academy Street in Cherryville.
The foot doctors of choice for many in this area are Doctors Jeff Mooney and Ron Maskarnik at Foothills Podiatry. In fact, people come to Foothills Podiatry from miles around for gentle but state-of-the-art foot care. Our staff truly cares about your needs. You can expect top-notch medical and surgical care from a staff dedicated to quality service. Whether a repeat patient or a new one, come see us soon at Foothills Podiatry, 707 North Morgan Street in Shelby.
Foothills Podiatry is proud to welcome Dr. Gretchen Lawrence to their practice. Full Throttle
And good evening, everybody. Welcome back to tonight's broadcast. Kevin Hastings, Shannon Allen, and Dennis Davis in the house.
The incredible man, I only do
Dennis is the incredible man. So is Shannon. We're going to do some picks in just a second, go over some of the games. But first, we want to thank our sponsors, as always, Witherspoon Insurance of Shelby. Been doing here the pregame show for years. You got to turn your buttons on, Dennis. You on there now?
Yeah.
There
Thanks.
you go.
Wayne's a good guy. Go over and see him for your insurance need. He'll take care of you. Treat him nice. He might take you out hunting with his dogs. Oh, I tell you what, the part I enjoy most about your bumper music, Kevin, is watching Calvin breakdance over there. That's great. I didn't know he could do that for a man that just turned 65.
You move pretty good, Kenny.
Yeah. He's got some moves. I tell you what, Andre, eat your heart out.
He's the king of the front seat, dancing to whatever music is on the radio, I think, back in the day. I've got all kinds of fun notes and stuff to talk about. Where was you guys at? I've been up and down getting everybody ready tonight.
I know you've been busy. We just talked about the teams, what they have, Chase and Cherryville, Forest View and Crest, West Lincoln, North Lincoln. we're ready to talk some about our new station over in Rutherford County,
Yeah.
WAGY,
Yep.
and RS Central in East Rutherford. Now, that's always been a big rivalry over there. Shannon, you know that. Yeah. I mean, East Rutherford at one time was under Steve Curtis and some of those guys. Oh, man, they come over to Shelby and kick some butt. But RS Central, Max Beam, look, you know what I mean? Yeah. But before his Crest days, he was at RS Central, and Marley Sigmund was over at East. This is a history lesson for those you young whippersnappers out there. But now, tonight, we've got this bash, which is an old rivalry game from way back. RS Central, East Rutherford. What can you tell us about RS Central?
RS Central, they've got a kid named Jaden Hopper, or Jadine Hopper. I don't know how you say his first name there, but I've talked to a couple of the coaches over there, and he's by far the best athlete maybe in the school.
Yeah.
He is. I think he's a sophomore. I can't remember if he's a sophomore or he's a junior now, but he is really good, and he's their bread and butter with what they do. But I don't know if he plays basketball. So if he does, I think RS is playing. They play Shelby tonight, so they're he won't be
at RS
at
because
RS.
they won the coin toss.
Right. So he will not be playing football for them tonight. So, but this game here, this is one of those games, Dennis. We were talking about, Shelby and Crest a while ago, rivalry games. You got West Lincoln and North Lincoln. That's a rivalry game. Any of these games, Maiden and Bandy's huge rivalry game. But the Rutherford County teams, they love, if they don't have a successful season in football, then they say, well, we beat Central.
Yeah.
Or we won the conference, or we won the county championship. And so they take a lot of pride in that, which is great. I think it's great. But when you look at these two teams, East Rutherford, when you look at them on paper, they look as good as anybody out there. But they've got a new coach this year, former Crest guy. And so I think I say Crest years ago when Coach Kirby was there. But I think he is bringing a new mystique, just like Cogdell is bringing it to Chase. I think Brent's bringing a good atmosphere to East Rutherford. He's giving them that little swagger that I think they've needed for a long time, and I think they will do well. They always have athletes. Normally you think about them being a baseball school, but we forget, as good as they are in baseball, when it comes to, like I said, on paper, athletically, they look as good as anybody when they put on those football uniforms. But hopefully Brent can get them on the same page and get them moving forward in the right direction.
Well, from a historical standpoint, East Rutherford has had several state championships in baseball.
Oh, yeah.
Coached from a Cherryville Lincoln team, Legion team, rather, coaches RS Central. Some great basketball players that come out of RS. And Stacy did a great job coaching up there, and I was fortunate to have a couple of those guys over at Gardner Webb in the college ranks, and I knew them from high school, and Lou Young and Oscar Mooney and a guy by the name of Vince Hamilton. Since you got your Clemson hat on.
Oh, yeah.
Great athletes, players. Right now, I don't know much about their football team, Shannon, so fill in any blanks that you can about RS.
RS, a kid, the Hopper kid, they have if you remember a name, talking about history, there was a gentleman there by the name of Ken Hines.
Oh, yeah, I know Ken.
There's a kid on the team. Now, I don't know if he's he's got to be, because he's Ken Hines the third. So I'm assuming that's maybe a grandson. Yeah. So if he's as good as, his grandfather is, that's a good thing to build on. But again, RS Central, they, when Mike Cheat left there a couple of years ago, they got a new program in there, and, they tried to go the spread. I don't know if they're doing that this year. I don't think they're going to try that again. But again, you have to, you have to have the personnel to be able to run that. And I think the kids got to buy into it, and that's the main thing. And so if they don't, it's going to be a difficult journey down the road. But again, you mentioned, and we're going to talk about history. So I remember when I was in school, when RS Central played basketball, oh my gosh, they'd run you out of the gym. And it's like, why are they this good in basketball but not this good in football? And again, same with East Rutherford. East Rutherford's had some great basketball teams.
Oh, yes.
Brad Levine was coaching over there. So, and who's now at Crest with a great team. So it's still, they have both schools have got they've got the personnel. Can they just put it together, get those kids to come out and play? That's the big question.
Well, sometimes it's a cultural thing too. I remember back at Crest, we had a player over there that's pretty decent by the name of David Thompson.
Right. Oh, yeah.
And then when we had basketball tryouts, even 3 and 4 or 5 years after David graduated and was down at state winning national championships, what we had 100 kids come out.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's a tremendous amount of enthusiasm. The problem was a lot of those kids didn't play football.
Yeah.
They wanted to play basketball. That's where the spotlight was.
Yeah.
The football team, hey, kid, you in the hall, come here.
Yeah.
You ever played football?
Right.
And we had some of the guys that we recruited from the basketball to the football.
Yeah.
And we began to do that. Now football has become the more dominant sport for a period of time there.
Right.
And so that sort of switched around. I think at RS and East, looking at what they've had over the last 10, 15 years, is they've had a similar cultural kind of thing where the athletes would play basketball, but not football.
Yeah.
Or baseball.
Yeah.
Because, hey, it's all about a ring. We want to get a ring.
Exactly right.
We're championship level in baseball. I can move on. I can get a scholarship here. But those are the kinds of things that take trends and time to change. And when you start having success, it shifts, it pivots.
Yeah.
And those kids that wouldn't put on a football uniform before suddenly now want to play wide receiver,
right,
defensive back, quarterback, running back, that kind of thing. And I think we're seeing a resurgence at RS and East and Chase of kids who want to get into the football uniform
right,
and play because they're having more success.
And that's it. And you make a great point on that, because as you were talking, I was thinking, and then you mentioned Chase, the same thing can be said at Cherryville.
Yeah.
If you look at Cherryville's basketball teams, maybe for the last 20 years, and Kevin, you probably know some of these, some of the kids that play basketball, I don't know if they ever played football, but they were fantastic athletes. And it's things like that. And I could be wrong there, but you're exactly right. Where the success is, that's where the kids are going to go to. It's like they don't. I'm not saying, and maybe I shouldn't put it like this, but it's like, hey, to build success takes hard work.
Oh yeah,
and you got to take those bumps. And again, I guarantee you, there's kids walking in the halls at each one of these schools right now, and those coaches are probably saying, "Why in the world isn't he playing for us?" 6'4", 6'5" kid that's not doing anything. But again, it goes back to, if you have success, kids are going to come out. They're going to flood the place trying to get on that team.
And Shannon, what we used to hear from kids, what school, you can take it to Burns, Shelby, or whatever. I don't want to get hurt, man.
Yeah,
I got some people looking at me, and
Yeah.
I don't want to get hurt.
Exactly.
If I go out there and play football, ouch,
Right,
that's
you're
going
right.
to hurt. And I could break a arm, or I could twist an ankle and mess up my basketball season.
Yeah.
And that goes my scholarship.
Right.
And now those kids are seeing, and here's the example I've heard people say on the internet: if you want a football scholarship, go to Crest.
Yeah.
They've got the connection with Clemson. I mean, I'll take a moment here to mention, sorrowfully, Justin Foster,
Mm-hmm.
who had COVID and had to sit out this year. The one thing I will say about Justin, he was a very good student, a super nice kid, represented Clemson as best he could, but he did, like you recall Brandon Spikes.
Right.
Brandon, I sat Brandon down before he went to Florida, and I said, Brandon, the only advice I'm going to give you is get an education. You can't play football forever. And I would say that to any kid, whether he's, the third string running back or anything else.
Right.
Get the education. You will always have that. Justin's in a position now where he's going to have some very good job offers as an engineer, not just some dumb jock who played on a national championship team. He's got the academics to propel him forward. And that's what I would say to any of the kids, wherever you're at. Get the education. It's student athlete. I know Kevin's going to laugh at me here, but it's student athlete. Get the education. Yeah. Otherwise, you'll end up talking sports on a radio station. Not you, Kevin. Me.
So that's Rich coming from the North Carolina educational program there, Dennis.
Well, thank you. I used to be a part of that.
Oh, did you set up those classes? Is that what you're saying?
Well, I actually.
Are you admitting to something? Are you and Rashad McCants in cahoots? Everybody hates Rashad. I was talking to somebody today about Rashad McCants, and I sent him a text. He's talking about, people, complain about Roy or whatever, and I sent him a text with Matt Doherty's picture. Said it's time to bring him back. And then I sent him a picture of Rashad McCants. And it was when we were in that age, and he thought that was funny. But it was McCants actually with Kim Kardashian, if you remember that.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Speaking of Matt Doherty, he's got a new book out on leadership.
Oh, okay.
And he said if he had it to do over again, he would have stayed at Notre Dame, which I thought was probably the best move. He wasn't ready for the other things going on at Carolina. And he made the mistake, and he admitted it. What he did when he came to Carolina was he got rid of all the staff that was there. And he fired Dean Smith and all those guys. I'm not Dean Smith. No. Phil Ford and those guys.
Right.
He said, I should have kept Phil and those guys that were coaching there and brought my guys in, paid them the same, but give them lesser jobs with smaller titles.
Right.
And he said things would have went smoother, but said, I came in, I don't want anybody, looking over my shoulder. And that cost him.
I thought he did fantastic. He built the franchise, and they won a championship.
That's right. That was his recruit.
All right. As far as the games, have y'all said all the games tonight? You want me to go down through them?
We have not covered those. We talked about the radio coverage. So, Kevin,
I tell you what, let's, as time is going, guys, we got to get here at 6:30 tonight. It's 5 to 6:30 now. So let's go through them and go ahead and give a quick pick for you guys on some of these. So we're going to go down the list and give you some from around the areas. Here's some from outside the area I wanted to mention. Christ the Kings at Union Academy, Watauga at South Caldwell, Alexander Central at South Iredale, Freedom at St. Stephen's, McDowell at Hickory, Patton at Ford, Bunker Hill at High Brighton, West Iredale at Drone, West Caldwell at East Burke, and mark that one out on the board there at the bottom. Here's the ones in our conferences, folks. Our stations are located in Gaston, Cleveland, Lincoln, and Rutherford County, so those are the schools that we are going to concentrate on. So let's get started. First off, did you guys mention Maiden, Tom Brown? He passed away last night, or today. Tom Brown passed away, so condolences for you folks up there.
Shannon had told me about it, but we did not talk about it on air. If you want to say
that's all I wanted to say was prayers to the folks up at Maiden tonight and those guys. Longtime coach there, obviously.
East Burke as well.
Maiden at Bandy's. Who you got, Shannon?
I got Maiden. Maiden's loaded this year. They got everybody back. Bandy's, I think they lost. I think they lost everybody, and I think their best running back or their best player off their team last year is now at Maiden. So it's not going to be a contest. And I know their Bandy's JV's won last night, but Maiden should, easily. I have 42 to probably nothing or 0. I think it's going to be a blowout.
Okay.
I really do, because again, it's because of what they have coming back. They're just going to be too strong for Bandy's. Maiden's going to be good this year.
Short preparation time, experience. I will go with Maiden as well.
Real quick note on Maiden. I want to make note. Broadcast some of the young men's games. One of the most amazing football games and players that I've seen in high school football in my life. Caleb Farley is projected to be a top 10 pick in the April draft in the NFL. Number 1 or number 2 corner projected.
Stood out this year.
He's the fastest straight line player I've seen. Like Keywan, and you guys know Keywan and Norris Hopper, left, right, Barry Sanders. This is the fastest I'm going. Put it this way. Sage was on the defense over at Lincoln that night, and they were running quarterback sweeps, and he was beating those guys to the corners just on quarterback sweeps. 50-some points he put on, I think is what he put on. It was amazing. You go back and watch that on YouTube. The kid is outstanding. He's going in the draft, should be top 10. The Surratt brothers are slotted anywhere from third to fifth round, depending on, of course, who likes them and you know how that goes. So, did want to mention Maiden, Tom Brown, and Caleb Farley on that. Dennis, you got a pick on that? Or you going with Shannon on that?
I went with Shannon Maiden.
Okay. Now, Bessemer plays at Pine Lake tomorrow night. Brian Nichols will be out there tweeting. The T's are my tweeters, are for you guys that don't know. Those are my guys that are going to be out tweeting. Brian will be out there in the rain. They've got a gray AstroTurf field, and they call the field the Gray. So
this is Pine Lake Prep.
Pine Lake Prep, yes.
Oh.
So,
well, that takes away the advantage Bessemer City would have had at home of the new scoreboard.
Well, everybody's just staring at it, and that thing's pretty nice, Dennis. If you ain't been out there,
I haven't.
It is. Jeff Wilson in the game did a fantastic job. That Joker is nice. I'm gonna pull up that for you so you can see the gray for the folks watching. Folks, if you listen on radio, I know we got some folks watching on YouTube right now in our areas. Folks, you can watch this on YouTube. So we're gonna be showing some of the game. Just fun, news and notes and fun things we'll pull up and I'll pull up and show folks. But I kind of wanted to show this field, Dennis. This is the overall view as I pull it up here on my internet. Get off you. Here's the Gray. Oh, wow. For you folks watching at home.
Was that on sale or something?
I don't know what without painting it for the Primer Gray stadium. But Pine Lake Prep. Let me get to the field. There are some really cool shots of it on here. Carolina, the stadium project, guys. There's a decent shot of the Gray field, but they'll be playing out there tomorrow night. Now the notes I've got I've been told on Bessemer guys is they're really low on numbers. Mm-hmm. So I like to play the numbers game, and while I've got that here, I might as well bring this up. You know, we talked conference realignment, Dennis and Shannon. I don't know if I've talked about this with you guys. I believe, let me check this real quick. I believe that the schools, instead of counting all the students in a school, Dennis, instead of counting just boys, which 99.9999% of the football players are, right?
Well, these days you can never tell.
Right. Claim to be. So what I like looking at is the actual roster sizes.
Right.
Okay. And then use those and average of the last 3 years of your roster sizes that you have to officially turn into max preps, and then do the conferences that way. So let me read you the top roster sizes. This is all it is. I don't name a player. All I'm naming is sizes. Okay.
Yeah.
This is from last year.
Size counts,
right. This is from last year. See if you say yes or no if this is a pretty decent program in the past, okay? South Point, 60 players. Yeah?
Decent.
Crest, 58.
Decent.
Shelby, 56.
Decent.
Kings Mountain, 54.
Decent.
Burns and Stuart Kramer at 49 are the next two, under 50, right under 50.
Get a lot out of what they got.
So your top six are there. Seventh is North Lincoln at 48 players. Eighth is Hunter Huss. Now, if I told you to name the top 8 football teams in the area, you would get most of those ones that I just named, wouldn't you? Just off the top of your head.
Those would make sense,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So let's do that conference. Let's put all those guys in a conference, just off the top of your head. How about that? Let's go to the next group. Here's the next grouping.
Oh, so you're doing numbers or conference by numbers?
I'm just doing straight up roster size.
Roster, okay.
That's all you look at. And I just named basically the 8 best teams in our area, and that happens to be the exact 8 top roster sizes. Yeah. And I'm going to give you guys a good example here in a minute on why that matters. All right, let's go to the next conference. Chase, think about how competitive this would be. Chase, West Lincoln, East Lincoln, Forest View, East Rutherford, Thomas Jefferson, Lincoln, and Cherryville.
Other than Forest View, they're pretty much all the same.
Mm-hmm. And Forest View's either really good or really or down, because we played them at Bessemer and Cherryville and gave them runs. But they've had really good teams that have waxed those teams as well and competed. Actually beat South Point one year in a game I was at.
Well, in high school, you don't draft players, so
Right.
you got to play with what you got, and it ebbs and flows.
So let me give you the number of guys real quick. The next grouping. RS, you can leave Cherville in that there on the bubble. Cherville, RS Central, North Gaston, East Gaston, Highland Tech, Ashbrook, and Bessemer City. Now,
That would be an interesting
something sounds
conference.
weird there, right?
That would be a pretty fair competition because they're all about the same.
Right. Now, what makes it that way? Again, I was talking about the roster size, okay? So if you go by classification, Ashbrook has 1,275 students, okay?
Yeah.
They're in a 3A. They're right in the middle of the 3As. Bessemer City has 622 students.
Yeah.
Exactly half, roughly. Okay? Exactly and roughly in the same sentence. You like that, English teacher? That'd been awful, wouldn't it?
I did not teach English.
I caught that. Now, look at the roster sizes last year. Ashbrook, 26. Bessemer City, 25. Ashbrook got railroaded by the 3As because they have a 1A size roster. Instead of, they got a 3A size school full of girls and people that don't play football.
Yeah.
So why are they being penalized football-wise to have to play teams like Shelby, well, they don't even have to play Shelby, Kings Mountain and Crest and South Point with 50 and 65 players? They got twice as many. So we say, why does that matter? And one thing I used to say is like, at Cherville and Bessemer, our 1s and 2s were always as good as your 1s and 2s, we thought. It was the 3s through 5, the depth.
Yeah.
And so let's say if I take, for example, West Lincoln, they played Shelby last year, right?
Correct.
West Lincoln's got 45 players. Shelby's got 56. Well, 11 players is one side of the ball or a whole special teams unit.
Yeah.
Like that's so much bigger that, you got people playing both sides of the ball and having to spin that. And when you got a team that don't have to do that. So I've always thought this, you guys can look at it and see what you think, the classifications. I've been looking at this and think these seems more competitive than putting Shelby in a conference with Highland Tech
Exactly
and
right.
Cherville and Bessemer. I was told Bessemer's got like 15 to 20 players. And they're going against 56 Shelby Golden Lions or 60 Golden Lions.
But, Kevin, they have come up with some kind of formula for reclassification this year.
It's worse than war.
It's I'm going to have to call in an expert
Need Einstein or somebody to explain that, don't
to
you?
explain that. Shannon, do you know the ins and outs of the new?
No, I have.
they
I'll go ahead and
take-
cut you off. No, I
it's-
don't.
it's-
If I read it to you, your eyes would roll in the back of your head.
Yeah.
Because they explain, you can read it online,
Really?
the mathematical explanational formulas.
The school population, the first day attendance that we've traditionally gone by,
Yeah.
the first
The
10
ADM
days,
numbers.
ADM
Yeah.
numbers. It only counts a percentage. And then you've got your academics. And then you've got your cultural things that go on too. So send those calls
Trying to figure out a
to
conference.
KTC Broadcasting. Attention, Kevin. He will answer all those questions.
Not me. All right, so the next game up on the schedule, who you got? I wanted to point out, I was told there's 14 players on the roster. I was told 16 to 20.
Well, Bessemer?
Yes.
Wow.
So that's what I'm saying. Normally in this game, in the past few years, this is the fall. I'm picking this game. I'm picking Bessemer all the way. I'm pulling up Pine Lake Prep right now they got 46 players, guys.
I think they
might-
got some coming back too. They got some of their team coming back from last
Kevin,
year.
I got a
Pine Lake-
senior quarterback. They might get dog walk tonight.
Yeah, it won't be
Dennis.
pretty.
16 to 46. That's the number I can look at. You can even tell me the names of the teams. I can almost look at that, I think, every
Well,
time
the first
and pick the winner.
The first half, Kevin, Bessemer City may hang in there. And about the middle of the third quarter and the fourth quarter, when
I think we're getting tired of this crap. They better hope that they can. You're right, Dennis. Bust open a couple, maybe a kick return here or a punt return. They only got 16 people. Somebody better be fast.
Well, thing is, with 16, you hadn't even practiced. You can't practice a full line with 16.
What do you?
So it's going to be difficult.
This spring is going to be tough for a lot of people and a lot of schools. All right, Newton Conover over at Lincolnton. Jason Sane will be there covering that game tonight over at Lincoln Town. The Red Devils come in. What do you got? You got anything on that, Shannon?
No, just that Lincoln, Coach Glass, I think he's doing the right things, but I heard they had to transfer in. I don't know who he is, or I read that somewhere that he's supposed to be pretty decent. But Newton, they lost a couple kids that went to college in December. Some kids that were going to be big time players for them this year.
That's another thing that nobody really has thought about. Like, say this Shelby and Dax Hollyfield's not there.
Jack.
Yeah. Got to replace Jack.
Yeah.
Ask Kings Mountain how that works.
Right.
Exactly.
It's tough.
Yeah, pace hour. So but Newton, they lost a couple big time players. Our Pat was talking. He was being interviewed by somebody, and he kept talking about the accolades of his players. They've done very well. He's like, oh, but we lost this guy, and he mentioned his. Of course, I can't remember his name, but he was going to be their stud player coming back this year, but he left to go to college in December, so I guess he could play in the spring in college. So or get ready for the fall, maybe
Spring practice.
Yeah, spring practice. So. Newton and Lincoln, again, big rivalry game up there. First, it's a hard game to start off with, but if this board's correct, they're playing at Lincoln. That may help Lincoln out some. But Glass, I just think he has. I think his cups or his cupboard's not full yet. And
he's building. It's like some of those teams we talked about earlier.
Yeah.
He's having to transition and build the program back, and you don't do that. Rome wasn't built in a day.
No, but it was built.
It was built.
But
it was burned down
time.
too.
It was time. Yeah.
We don't know that for a fact, though.
Oh,
it could have been built in a day.
Nah.
God did a lot of things in his 6. Somebody could have built. He could have done it. All right. Newton Conover roster size. Let me pull that up. That's how I'm going to pick the games. 30.
While you're pulling that up, is the East Lincoln, are they not playing Mountain Island this week?
Yes.
Okay.
I did those on Monday, so
Okay.
that hasn't been fixed. So,
Okay.
so
For Thomas Jefferson, looking back at where they started, however long ago, 20 years ago, whenever it was, when they started the school or the program. But
and they just built an $18 million new facility.
Yeah, it's very nice. So it's still one of those. It's again, this is the conference game. I think they're just going to be too strong for community school with Davidson. And
I concur.
Yeah, they should have no problem winning that ball game.
Cash had great success at Chesney.
Yeah,
he had success at East comparatively.
Yeah,
and he retired again, and Thomas Jefferson needed someone. He filled in that void from Tony Helton, who's a good friend of mine. The thing of it is, he has done like what we're talking about. He didn't jump in there the first year and just blow everybody out.
Right.
He has built the program, and the Griffons, if you will, have become a power. Now, Shannon, in the past, because of some political things and ill-remembered lawsuit where Thomas Jefferson sued Cleveland County and won some kindergarten funds.
Yeah.
Cleveland County schools have said, we don't play charter schools.
Right.
Look at that next conference.
That's exactly right. Yeah, that's what I saw when they came out. I'm like, well, how's this even going to be possible? How are they playing in with Shelby and Burns? And it's
and it's some policy going to change with the Board of Education.
Yeah.
One other thing I will point out: no charter school has a conference in their home county.
Oh wow, I didn't know that.
Think about that.
Yeah.
Mountain Island charter.
Yeah, they're gone.
Across the lake.
That's right. That's right.
Thomas Jefferson.
Yeah.
I remember one of the points of
County.
forming one of their points in that and forming them was they didn't want you driving by other schools.
Yeah.
I always thought the best matchup, and I even got a sheet for that somewhere over here too. Here, this one. My proposal was Lincoln County, Cleveland County, just like the Tri-County Conference. Put those in there. And then let's play. You got 4 2As, 4 3As.
Talking about Lincoln, Rutherford, and
No, not Rutherford. Rutherford's stay over there.
Who's your other third with Tri-County?
I said from those schools because
okay.
they play each other, but when they go to high school, they never play each other.
Right.
It's weird. They play each other all in middle school, and they never play each other, and we get up to high school. So I thought those schools, the 2s and 3s, should stay together.
Well,
The 1A, 2A, why I had the Rutherford real quick was the 4 Rutherfords, Cherryville, Bessemer, Mountain Island, if they would have allowed schools, obviously. Yeah. Don't want to do that. Oh, and Polk County. I threw Al Bundy school in there, too, because he had 4 touchdowns in a single game.
Polk County is in their Polk County's in the
Ain't that how many it was?
I think it was.
Coach Hollis and Polk County is now in the conference projected to be with Chase and RS
Right.
and East. But then they got to go all the way up the hill.
Up the mountain, yeah. They got Brevard and Mountain Heritage. Is that
Brevard, Chase, East
Hendersonville,
Rutherford, Hendersonville, Patton, Polk, and RS Central was the latest one. I got that. Might have been updated.
Wow.
All right, Max, Thomas Jefferson. Did y'all pick East Lincoln? I guess over Mountain Island Charter.
No, I got Mountain Island beating East Lincoln.
Okay.
Yeah.
Whoa.
East Lincoln lost a lot. They lost some players last year, so I think Mountain Island won't have any problem with them. Mountain Island's picked finish their or win their conference this year.
Well, Mountain Island lost a few guys too, down to Carolina and some other places. I don't know. I would normally have gone with East Lincoln, but Chris Hawk would scout me if I did that.
Yeah.
I don't know if he's still coaching over at Mountain Island Charter or not, but I'll go with the Mountain Island Charter and Coach Washington.
Yeah.
All right. I'm going to go Mustangs. You guys going to surely, they'll win tonight or tomorrow at home in the rain against the charter school. We'll go with them. Thomas Jefferson up at Community School at Davidson. Thomas Jefferson. That's the wrong Thomas Jefferson. I was about to say this one had 75 on their roster. I'm picking Thomas Jefferson either way. I was curious as to what it was. I better click on Thomas Jefferson Classical as opposed to that's one that's hard to look up on Friday nights.
Are they going to have
to type Thomas Jefferson in a search engine and see what happens?
Are they going to have to change the name of that because he owned slaves or anything?
I don't know. We'll see if the I guess the kids at that school that's not on the Cleveland County, an actual county school board. Let's see, roster size 32 for Thomas Jefferson and Community School of Davidson. We'll check on them. Roster size this year is sitting at 31.
Ooh.
So
Close.
Thomas Jefferson's at home. Long ride for Davidson. I'm going with the Griffons.
Yeah. They shouldn't have any problem. They should have no problem with that one.
I would click on last year's to see what happened.
Again, in that conference, Thomas Jefferson and Mountain Island is going to be your two powerhouses coming out of that one.
Yeah. All right. Next up, North Gaston at Hunter Huss. Shannon?
Ugh. See, this is, again, one of those games, traditionally, Huss should have no problem. I don't think they will at this time either. But, North Gaston got the new coach.
Former quarterback at North Gaston and at Western Carolina.
And his dad was a coach at Kings Mountain, coached baseball there too.
Yeah.
Oh, goodness. What is his
Clark.
name, Dennis? Clark. Yeah, Justin. So, he's coming in. He's trying to get back that swagger of North Gaston back in the, I'm going to say the Vita Blue day. Not Vita Blue. What's his name? Not Vita Blue. What's the AJ
Went
Blue?
to Carolina.
Who's Vita Blue?
He's
That's
a
pitcher.
70s
That's right.
baseball player.
Hey, man, I'm all about it. He's a pitcher.
Great-
That's right.
great
He's a pitcher.
pitcher.
I did
Yeah,
not
great
think
pitcher.
he was going to
Vita
be
Blue.
brought up on the Witherspoon Insurance pregame
Hey.
show. I want to thank our sponsor, as always. Again, we're going to go to a break in just a second. Of
Great
Shelby.
pitcher for the A's.
Didn't
by
know
the
it was
way.
bringing up Vita Blue tonight
I was in the right
on the
call part,
pregame
just in the
show.
wrong position. But and listen, the wrong sport. But yeah, he's wanting that because you remember back in those North Gaston, that team.
They were bad.
They
to the
were
bone.
solid. I mean, they took Crest to the wire that year down at North Gaston because I was at that game. But it's one of those things that he's wanting to bring it back. And again, Dennis, it goes back to exactly what you said at the beginning. Kids, these young people today, they want to follow success, and they're hunting that ring. And if they see that the big studs of the school were not going to play a particular sport, they're not going to play it either, and they're going to venture away. But I think Clark's trying to bring in a new. He's wanting to bring in a new swagger, a new system for them, and
A new esprit de corps.
there you go. Yeah,
All right.
those words I don't know, but yeah, I think Huss, and again, Huss has got a new coach too, right, Kevin?
I'm not.
Hold on
100%
just a second,
sure on
I'll
that
tell
one.
you.
I just walked
because
over.
there's left to go. Didn't he go to Charleston to a Christian school down in Charleston or a private school down there?
I think he might have.
Y'all know more than I do on it. What you pick on it, Dennis? And then we're going to take a quick break and then come back and finish up our picks. We're running out of time here on the Witherspoon Insurance of Shelby pregame show.
I got Huss.
I'm going Huss.
All right, we'll be right back in just a few moments.
Witherspoon Insurance Agency in Shelby has been serving families across Shelby and Cleveland County. And today, Wayne Witherspoon continues the tradition of bringing you the best insurance at the best possible price. With names like The Hartford, Safeco, Progressive, National General, and Travelers. Drop by the office today at 125 North Lafayette Street in Shelby and talk with one of their friendly hometown agents. Witherspoon Insurance Agency, your independent insurance agency since 1986.
At Coyote,
We're going to treat you like dirt because we hold dirt in the highest regard. We're honored to find it under our fingernails, lucky to be caked in it at day's end. It keeps us humble, honest. Dirt gets taken for granted by most, but if you know us, you know getting treated like dirt means getting treated with respect. Coyote, we dig dirt.
Your Coyote dealer is Weston Sales, Highway 18 North, Highway 27 intersection west in Vale. Attention, buy here, pay your customers. The new Iconic Motor Company in Shelby has regular financing plans that will help you reestablish your credit with a credit bureau. Come in for all the details at the new Iconic Motor Company in Shelby, where you'll find quality late model vehicles. Yes, you can get approved at the new Iconic Motor Company of Shelby, 325 West Dixon Boulevard, Highway 74 West in Shelby. Online at iconicmotorcompanyofshelby.com. Open 9 to 7 Monday through Friday, 9 to 5 on Saturday. Get approved today at Iconic Motor Company in Shelby. Full Throttle Power Sports in Gastonia has just gotten a whole lot bigger, and we mean a whole lot bigger. They have just purchased MS Power Sports in Gastonia and are now your dealer for Honda, Suzuki, and Kawasaki, along with CF Moto, Yamaha, and Polaris. Golf carts too. One big dealer under one big roof, plus a complete parts and service department. That's Full Throttle Power Sports, 101 Indian Walk of I-85 in Lowell. Online at ncfullthrottle.com and see their page at whatsupshopper.com.
Since 1986, Witherspoon Insurance Agency in Shelby has been serving families across Shelby and Cleveland County. And today, Wayne Witherspoon continues the tradition of bringing you the best insurance at the best possible price. With names like the Hartford, Safeco, Progressive, National General, and Travelers. Drop by the office today at 125 North Lafayette Street in Shelby and talk with one of their friendly hometown agents. Witherspoon Insurance Agency, your independent insurance agency since 1986.
Welcome back to the broadcast real quick, Dennis. We're going to go. Y'all get through those last few games picks. We got like 8 minutes, and I'm getting people set up. So Dennis and Shannon, finish out those last few picks there, and we'll get on with some football tonight.
Well, I've got a basketball score that just came into me from Donnie Hastings. Crest is playing basketball, and I'm trying to pull that up. Let's see what it is here. Come on, phone. Here. All right. This message says, at the end of the first quarter basketball playoffs, Crest 13, North Iredale 7. So that's hot breaking news right there. Thanks to Donnie Hastings over there at Crest. It's Crest 13, North Iredale 7. And Shelby's tomorrow night or tonight?
They're tonight. Shelby's tonight.
You got a score on them?
No, I don't. I don't
Okay. Well, let's see. We did the Thomas Jefferson's Community School of Davidson, North Gaston, Hunter Huss. That brings us to Berry Academy and Ashbrook.
Yeah. You know, Ashbrook, Dennis, what Kevin mentioned a while ago, and that was a great, I'd never heard that way of putting it. When you have 1,200 students, we only have 35 on your team. That's a problem. And that's one of those things. If you go back in history, you think about what they've had in the past. When the Boyd kid was there that went to North Carolina as a receiver, they were some competitive teams, but now it just seems like the kids don't want to go play. They don't want to be out there. And Berry Academy, if I'm not mistaken, that's in Charlotte.
Yeah.
And so I think they'll come in Ashbrook tonight, they'll come in Ashbrook tomorrow night, won't have any problem.
Well, Ashbrook was 2-8 last year.
Yeah.
They got 13 returning starters, and they lost 8 starters.
Yeah. But how good are those 13? That's my point. How good are you? You only win 2 games. How good were your 13 that are coming back?
You have asked the question that I can't answer.
Yeah.
The thing I found about Ashbrook over the years, Shannon, when you went to play Ashbrook, you it was like fighting a bear in a cave.
Yeah.
For some reason, they could be 1-8. Yeah. And when Crest showed up,
that's right. You're exactly right.
It was down to the wire, and you come out of there with claw marks and scratches and going, we beat them 13-12. How did that happen?
You're exactly right.
And everybody else was beating them 45-0 or something, you know.
Yeah, it was
So
close
I don't know. They've got a new coach this year down there. A guy by the name of Darius James. It's his first year. They're either going to be really prepared and really good, and since they haven't had a lot of practices, I'm going to go that they're not going to be.
Yeah.
And therefore, I'm going to go with Berry Academy like you did.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Kramer and Kings Mountain.
Dennis, Kings
Saturday.
Mountain, yeah, Kings Mountain's that team that's, coming back from last year or 2019. They said this is going to be the team to beat in the 3A.
Yeah.
And then Pace Hour, he left to go to Gaffney during the fall. So, but Kings Mountain's got everything in place. They've got Ethan Reed at quarterback. They've got a great line led by Blake Davis. Kid's about 6'5", 300 pounds.
Perry Davis's boy.
Perry's boy, yeah. Big old, big kid, bigger than his daddy.
That's pretty big.
I wasn't going to say that, but no, and then on the other side, the Missouri commit, Day Wilson, linebacker. So
Charlie Harbison come in and stole him one there.
Stole him one. So, it's one of those things. Kings Mountain, the tools are there. They got the running back as well. They're going to have to replace both receivers. Pace Hour left and the other kid graduated, so they're going to have two new receivers on the edge. But when you have an experienced quarterback, I think, I'm sure they've been working together since probably August with each other out there throwing the ball around. So Coach Lloyd at Kings Mountain should have no problem. Their big test is going to come at the end of the year when they play, when they host Crest for that final game.
Weddington and Charlotte Catholic are going to be playing 4A ball in the future.
Right.
But this spring, they, I think, are still in the 3A ranks.
Yeah, they're still there. So, again, Kings Mountain, Crest, those two teams are going to have to go through. They're going to have to face Charlotte Catholic, or Weddington, depends on where they fall in the, 3A or whatever, however they're going to do it this spring. But, again, if just going back 2 years or 2019, if Kings Mountain would have had Catholic at home, I think Kings Mountain would be wearing rings right now.
Well, your boy down at Weddington, it's going to Clemson. Is he already gone?
He's already there, Shelby.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Yeah.
Oh, well, so much for that. Shelby and East Gaston. Shannon?
Yeah. Again, this is one of those games that if you're a Shelby fan, you like it because it's an easy game on paper. Traditionally, it's going to be an easy game where you can get Shelby's got a new quarterback in, Gabe Hewitt. Yeah, he's
former Crest guy.
Then with the Nations Forward. Now he's come back to Cleveland County at Shelby. You've got you're going to have new receivers out there as well and a new offensive line. Running back still the same, but again, Shelby's strength this year is going to be their defense. Their defense, I've heard numerous people, or more than one, let's put it that way, say this is one of the better defenses that Shelby's ever had.
Well, I've heard they're going to rely on their defense a little bit more, particularly at the first of the year, until they get that coordination between their new quarterback and the receivers.
Right.
But they've got supposedly 4 good running backs.
They've got good running backs, and so that's going to help them. That's going to keep them in game. The defense will keep them there, keep them in the games. Defense led by Malachi Hamrick. Again, he's like the Hall kid at Crest. Everybody's wanting him. If I'm not mistaken, he's making his decision tomorrow night or tomorrow afternoon before the game.
Oh, really?
That's what I've heard. So
any speculation there?
Well, it's Ohio State, Penn State, Carolina. I don't know who the fourth one, but the fifth one's Appalachian. Can you imagine that? Appalachian, Ohio State, and Carolina in the same breath.
Lance Ware might have had something to do with that, but
he
would look good in light blue.
And I think that's probably where he ended up going. But
Tom wants him to go to Ohio State, but it's cold up there, son.
Yeah, oh yeah. And here's the thing: when you got young people, and not just at Shelby, but when you've got kids around here, like 2 at North Lincoln signed at the state last year, you've got kids around here that are going to play college ball in state. That's
and
that's
Carolina's
a big time.
back recruiting. Mac Brown used to do an excellent job. He owned North Carolina. Players started leaving when Mac left, going to places like Florida and Georgia and South Carolina and Virginia Tech.
Yeah.
That's not going to happen like it did. No. Shannon, we got about 5 minutes, and we saved the best for last, Kevin.
What we got?
We've got Burns and South Point. I want to get some comments from you on that game, as well as Shannon. I like the quarterback over there. He's got his college picked out. He's signed, sealed, and delivered. And he's got a beautiful pair of cleats he's going to wear tomorrow night, Shannon, with Ann Goss's name on it.
He's
That's
a good
like
kid.
his second family, and Ann just passed away.
Yeah.
Coach Goss, you have our sympathy, and he's gonna support those tomorrow night. So
Yeah.
Shannon, take that away. South Point and Burns.
Well, you mentioned the quarterback, Cameron Sweezy. You won't find a better young person anywhere. I have a lot of respect for him for reasons I won't name, but he's a fantastic young man, all around fine, and he's a great leader on the field. He's coming back, leading the Burns team back from last year. He made it to the fourth round where they got beat by Shelby, but I think a lot of people, are writing Burns off because they lost a Pryor kid who's now in college, Keywan Pryor. But what they don't understand, Burns had a great JV team, and they had a good middle school team coming up. So they're younger than they have been in the past, but they're very talented. And Sweezy on one side, then you have Dorian Starnes, who's going to VMI. He's already signed to go to VMI on defense at defensive end. And then they have, of course, they have a kid at linebacker, Azari. Is it Haynes? Is that his name?
I believe that's correct.
He's getting looked at by big Division I schools. He's a tall kid, big frame on him. So Burns, I don't think they'll have any problem going down to Belmont tomorrow night or tonight and taking care of business.
All right, roster sizes for those if you're interested. South Point 48, Burns 38. All right, guys, let me tell you how to listen and what to do tonight on KTC Broadcasting, where to listen to all the games, what we're going to be doing here in just a little bit. So, on the radio, the best way to listen to the games. Tonight, Cherryville is hosting Chase, 1590 AM, 92.3 FM in Cherryville. And Dennis, would you read those? I got to answer a phone call now.
Yeah, go ahead. Let's see. Tonight we have on WCSL Chase that's Cherryville, Kevin, Cherryville at Waggy up in Rutherford County. That's RS Central and East. We talked about that rivalry. WLON in Lincolnton, West Lincoln and North Lincoln, and at WHS Forest View and Crest. And what I find interesting about that game, Brent Pasco and Tom Sinafani are calling that game.
Well, they called the Crest basketball game the other night on the radio. Yeah. They did a good job.
They're great announcers. Yeah. It's just that you think of Brent, with Shelby and Tom with Burns.
Yeah. Hey, Rob's going to be out there with them to keep them straight. Rob's going to be tweeting the scores and the video for
Is he talking with some other folks on their other thing?
No. Rob has a 6'2", 305-pound junior offensive lineman son who's been in the weight room lately. He's looking pretty decent. He's in here yesterday.
Kid. That's a big boy. I saw a picture of him.
He's got pretty. Listen, he's put some work in the weight room. If he was at one of these smaller schools, he'd be starting right now at left tackle for somebody. Especially at Bessemer with 16 players, he'd be out there right now.
He's a stud.
Yeah, he's a big dude. I like RJ. He's really nice, really funny kid. Go ahead, Dennis. What did you get? I'm sorry, Tim Johnson's comments. Let us know. What all did you say so far?
I just gave the games on the radio tonight. WCSL, WAGY,
okay,
WLON, and WHS.
Okay,
those. Now we're going to be reporting on something new here called the Red Zone, Kevin.
Well, we can't do that because of probably legalities, but we're going to do a KTC scoreboard show live at 7:00 tonight and tomorrow. And what we're going to be doing is we're going to be giving live updates of scores, folks. You can just tune in during the games. We'll be giving live score updates. And our folks are tweeting for some of the games. We'll be able to tweet some of the plays and highlights during the show. And then in the postgame show, we're going to have all that as footage and extras that we can go to, Dennis, and check out the big scores and the big plays. So hopefully, Dennis, we have highlights on the post-game show tonight for the first time.
Wow.
On KTC Broadcasting, live sports. So
I didn't.
So when they kick you out of the stadium and can't let you do live broadcasts of the video, maybe we can do some highlights. We've talked to schools that seem to be okay with it. We'll see for now. You never know about that. But hopefully we'll be providing highlights for tonight's post-game show for everybody. And it's going to be longer than our post game show is longer than the 30-minute. Hey, watch the cheerleaders for 10 seconds, scream, and then put the score up. Right, Dennis? We go on for 2 hours in depth.
And they even break that up where you get to watch about 10 minutes of it on TV, and then you have to switch over to the computer.
Oh, okay.
And I don't want to call any names, but
I've never been on. I've never been in front of a television on a Friday night before. I've always been here for the last 30-some years.
Well, I used to tape it just to go home and see if I missed any of the
See if
score.
they mentioned your name.
No.
All right, guys, thanks for tuning in to the Witherspoon Insurance pregame show. Shannon Allen in the house tonight. He's going to soccer practice. Dennis is going to hang around for a little bit. Andre's going to join us in just a little bit. And Andre Bush and Dennis Davis and myself are going to take us away for the rest of the night. And then over at and then later on tonight, we'll have some calls. Will Boykins is going to call tonight. I think from his hotel in High Point and check in on us after the game.
I thought he was working in Raleigh.
Wherever he's at, I don't know.
He was in High Point.
Mexico, I don't know where Will's at right now.
Now he's in Raleigh.
He might be. Raleigh. Good, I didn't know that. All right.
If you need a deal on a Kia, call Will.
All right, folks, thanks for tuning in to the Witherspoon Insurance pregame show of Shelby.
Since 1986, Witherspoon Insurance Agency in Shelby has been serving families across Shelby and Cleveland County. And today, Wayne Witherspoon continues the tradition of bringing you the best insurance at the best possible price. With names like The Hartford, Safeco, Progressive, National General, and Travelers. Drop by the office today at 125 North Lafayette Street in Shelby and talk with one of their friendly hometown agents. Witherspoon Insurance Agency, your independent insurance agency since 1986.
At Cleveland Community College, the spring semester is in full gear. We are the county's premier center for affordable education and workforce training, offering 41 associate degree programs, 43 diploma programs, and 117 certificates. From healthcare, education, business and IT, to electrical line working, commercial truck driving, plumbing, and cosmetology, we have options for your career success. And remember, we're the home of the Yetis. Be sure to check out cccyetis.com for team news and game schedules. Go Yetis! Dellinger's Jewel Shop, 112 West Mountain Street in Kings Mountain, is a fourth-generation family-owned business. They offer quality diamonds, gold and silver jewelry, and custom jewelry, and they offer a sale price every day. Dellinger's always has great gift items and free gift wrapping, so remember them for that special Valentine gift. And right now, they have cash price store-wide discounts from 10 to 50%. Looking for that special engagement ring? They're the place to go for better diamonds at a better price. That's Dellinger's Jewel Shop. Call 704-739-8031. Smiles are the specialty at Family Dentistry in Shelby. Dr. Stroud, Wilson, Thompson, and McMurray invite you in for all of your dental needs. From preventive care to cosmetic dentistry, from crowns and bridges to root canals and implants. For your appointment, call 704-482-3281 or visit the website at shelbydentist.net. Yes, smiles are the specialty at Family Dentistry in Shelby.